Hi, welcome to Movie Review Mom. Today I'm reviewing Mary Poppins Returns. I thought it was so charming and I gave it an A minus, and I'll tell you why. But first, let me give you some details and stats on the movie. It is 130 minutes long. It's rated PG. And some tips for parents are that it is perfect for all ages. In other words, there's no profanity, no inappropriate material, and even adults might enjoy this more than kids, especially if you've seen the original. And if your kids have not seen the original, you might want to show it to them first if you have a chance. If not, then show it to them afterwards so they can kind of see the continuity. There are a few respectful nods to the original movie that they'll miss, or you'll miss if you haven't seen the original. However, by itself, it's still very, very charming and a very lovely movie. And in fact, I was surprised when I returned home from the theater to read a bunch of negative reviews. So I guess it has to do with expectations as well. Some people were very critical that it wasn't modern enough, or that it was basically the first movie rehashed. And I disagree. I think because only 30 years had transpired since the first movie, the time frame is set in the 1930s, I felt like the movie equally matched the first in terms of style and tone. And so it seemed like it was very fitting. And because it was old-fashioned, like the original one feels to us today, I thought it was well done. So I actually appreciated that aspect of it. It has the heart of the first one, although this one is much more sad. And in fact, that sadness hovers over the entire movie, the length of the film. It's a bit heavy in the sense that the themes are the loss of a loved one. You know, Disney loves to kill off a parent. And so in this case, Michael has grown up and his wife has recently died. He has 3 children of his own, and they're sad about that. And Mary Poppins comes to heal their hearts and of course, to work her magic in their lives. Also, they're under the threat of losing their house because they haven't paid the mortgage because the wife who passed away took care of all of that, and Michael is all in disarray, and so they're going to lose their house unless they come up with all of the money. And so there's sort of this darkness of losing a home as well, which is interesting and very realistic, however. And the movie deals with it very well. Michael sings a wife to his dead wife at the beginning of the movie, and it will just rip your heart out. And then later, Mary Poppins sings a song to the children about where things go when they're lost, and you know, the sadness that is, but that thing isn't lost. We're the ones that have lost that person, kind of a thing. So just a heads up on parents about that. Basically, if you don't know, I should have said this first, it's based on the stories by P.L. Travers, who wrote many Mary Poppins stories, and in fact, apparently did not like the first original Disney movie at all, and thought that the Mary Poppins character, played by Julie Andrews, who won an Academy Award for her role in the movie, anyway, P.L. Travers thought that it was not the same character that was created in the books. And of course, since then, that movie has become very beloved by several generations. It's been 54 years since a return of Mary Poppins, at least by Disney in this sense. There have been several other knockoffs. One was by Kristen Bell, kind of a thing. But anyway, I think that it was well worth the wait. Again, I thought it was really lovely, and you'll be really delighted by 2 special cameo performances towards the very end of the movie. And I don't want to spoil it for you because part of it was I didn't know that these 2 people were going to be in the movie. And when I saw them, I was like, yay, how fun. And so I thought that was really great. And speaking of going, yay, I felt like clapping after all of the musical numbers. I thought that they were so great, like Broadway productions. And I love that. I love kind of the return of Mary Poppins, but the return of that old Hollywood musical type. And so I thought that that was really sweet. By the way, since the original Disney movie came out in 1964, that's actually a record for the longest time anybody's had to wait for a sequel, I thought, which was funny. Before any more time goes by, I need to mention Emily Blunt. She was fantastic. She has a lovely voice, and of course, she always says, no, 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 it's nothing like Julie Andrews. And Julie Andrews has been so gracious and was so happy for Emily, and in fact, declined to play a very small role in this movie because she said, no, this is Emily's film, and she didn't want to upstage her or distract. And I thought, wow, what a charming, amazing woman Julie Andrews is. But Emily Blunt does a fantastic job, and she is very worthy of holding that Mary Poppins umbrella. I think the magic of Disney lives on. Some themes are that everything is possible, even the impossible, and Mary Poppins says that several times. Michael Banks, who's played by Ben Whishaw, by the way, and I'm probably not pronouncing his name correctly, he does a really great job as well, and he's so talented. He has a twin brother, and I have a twin sister. So that pretty much ends our similarities, but he does a really good job. And he says, no looking back. And that's kind of also, ironically, since Mary Poppins has returned and we're looking back, he says, no looking back. In other words, okay, we're sad, but let's move on. And that's really good too. And then there are several songs where the ideas are to always look up and look forward and look for the best and that kind of thing. There's a little message on first impressions that you can talk to your kids about. I thought that the music was really sweet. I enjoyed it. However, I readily admit that when I walked out of the theater, I couldn't really instantly hum any of the songs that I had heard, which was odd. Whereas The Greatest Showman, when that came out, I was singing and I remembered those songs, and I was completely obsessed with that music. So when I came home, I had my Amazon Music play the soundtrack, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I did like that. However, sometimes some of the lyrics are so fast that it's hard to really understand what's being said, and you're gonna have to hear them again to be able to catch it. I'm sure YouTube is gonna be filled with all kinds of kids and adults singing some of these songs and revisiting them in their own style. And so that'll be kind of fun to see which songs really connect and click with the audiences. There is one song that I really enjoyed, but I was surprised that it actually had a few suggestive comments, which seemed really inappropriate for Disney. They're sung really quickly, and so I don't think little kids will catch them, but I was kind of surprised because it's PG. Lin-Manuel Miranda sings kind of rapping style, and so I think that partly has to do with why the songs are sped up and in that kind of style, and not all of them are. And I love him. He, of course, is fantastic. Everybody loves him. And I was surprised that he didn't really pop on the screen like Dick Van Dyke did when he was the lead man in Mary Poppins in the original. He comes across as a nice guy. His Cockney accent isn't really great, but I was happy to have him in the movie. I loved him and his work in Moana. So I was really looking forward to see what he was going to do to Mary Poppins, and I was a little bit disappointed. A couple of things that I liked was, of course, Julie Walters. She's adorable and everything. And I liked that Karen Dotrice, who played Jane, the little girl in the original, actually got a little cameo. And she's not one of the surprise cameos that I was talking about. But that was really sweet that they included her. I liked some of the references to the past. For example, Michael, as an adult, says, let's go fly a kite. And if you've seen the original, then you just go, "Aw." And there were several times in the movie where I saw some little references to the original, and I thought, "Aw." And so I liked that. I didn't want the movie to be totally modern in modern days, which some people think that it should have been. I liked the setting that it was in. The animation scene with the broken china bowl was the best, I thought, by far. The animation, the costuming to match the animation was really clever and cute. I love live action mixed with animation, and so it was very magical. And there are several magical scenes, like the bathtub scene. It's just so magical, and kids will really get a kick out of it, I think. Let's see, a couple of other things that I thought were good and bad was Meryl Streep, who is wonderful in everything she does. She is great. However, I thought her makeup and costume and even accent were just a little bizarre, but that's just me. Some people thought that she was absolutely fantastic. There's one scene where you're probably going to roll your eyes or say, what? That's ridiculous. And it has to do with the Big Ben clock tower in London, where you're just going to go, what? I mean, it's magical, but I mean, the whole movie, but there are some things that you were just like, that was silly. Whose idea was that? And of course, London is a star in this movie. Americans love to idolize London, and it's the foggy old London that is just so beautiful. And I think the set designs, the set pieces were great. I loved how I mentioned they used set pieces in the filming to underscore some of the animation. And I just thought that that was so well done. Some critics also complained that the movie wasn't as innovative as the original was. When the first movie came out, there were some new things that were seen and done. For example, the mixing of the animation with the live action, and some of the things that they did were new to audiences. And I don't know that we saw anything quite like that. It's still magical, and it still does some of those things that we saw in the first movie. But that didn't bother me at all. I think I was going in for charm, and that's what I got. And so I thought that that was really sweet. There were a couple of missed opportunities. For example, if you're a Guardians of the Galaxy fan like I am, then you'll remember that Landu in the second Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 makes some references to Mary Poppins. And it would have been totally cool if he had somehow gotten into this movie. I don't know, I would have gotten a kick out of it at least. And apparently there was a petition to get him in the movie, but it didn't happen, so that's too bad. And another missed opportunity was that Mary Poppins never said supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Of course, that's from the first movie, and it doesn't have to be in the second movie, but it would have been a cute little thing that she had said off to the side or something like that. I don't know. Let's see. I'm reading my notes here to see what else I missed. Be sure and go online to moviereviewmom.com, and you could read where I post some of the interesting lines, some of the funny lines, and links to some other things that you might like. For example, if you really like this movie and the Mary Poppins original movie, be sure and watch the movie Saving Mr. Banks, also a Disney movie, which was fantastic. I loved that as well. In the meanwhile, I'm headed off to the movie theater again right now. So be sure and hit subscribe, share this video, and comment down below. I want to find out what you thought about this movie. I highly recommend it for families of all ages, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Bye for now.